What it do? What it do? Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, whichever time y'all watch this. Welcome to another episode of In My Bag. It's your boy, Stu Stay Finessing, always repping. You see who's in the background. I will be your host for this episode. Look, check it out, bruh. The playoffs is starting soon. The playoffs is starting soon. This episode is going to be nothing but football. I'm too excited for this year to come, this playoffs for this year. I know Beanie Drew's excited. I know Maul, know most of it all is excited. I'm going to let them introduce themselves before we get to it. What's popping? Beanie Drew.
Beanie Drews.
Your boy Beanie Drews, man, over here in Chiefs Kingdom, man. Tough game, tough loss on Sunday, but it's okay. We still number 2 seed in the AFC, so I'm not tripping.
And it's your boy Maul, know most of it all. Carolina ain't really in the talks no more, but I'm still excited for football. And I'm a Panther for life.
As well as you should be. Why? Because this has got to be one of the craziest years for football that we have had in a while. If you're not excited about football this year, it's probably because you're a Browns fan or your team sucks. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into the episode. We got a lot to talk about. So, like Beanie Drews with the news like to say, let's talk about it. We're going to start it off with our team recaps for this week. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs went head-to-head. Bengals end up taking the dub in that game. It was a very close game. It was hard fought on both sides, but the Bengals did end up pulling up with the win. Final score 34-31. I'm going to read off a couple stats for y'all, just so y'all can know we talking about Pat Mahomes. Did very well last night, I felt like. 26 of 35 attempts, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. The running game looked pretty solid. The whole team as a whole rushed for over 100 yards. And receiving wise, Hardman led the team in reception yards with that one catch for 53 yards. But Travis Kelce was definitely making his presence known in the red zone, and Robinson also got a touchdown as well. Going over to the Bengals, Joe Burrows played phenomenal. 30 of 39, 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he really put the team on his back. Jamar Chase obviously set the single season record for rookies with the most receiving yards in a single game. He had 266 with 3 touchdowns. I'm going to come to you first, Mom. I'm going to let Drew save his answer for Kansas City. But I know this was a highly anticipated game. It was a big game for the Bengals, and they needed this win in order to clinch the division. Now that the Bengals have their division clinched, how much of a threat do you feel like they're going to be in the AFC come playoff time?
When Joe Burrow and Chase is clicking, they are clicking. They can beat anybody in the AFC when they are hot. But when they're off, they're off. So, like, they can be a threat, but how much do you trust them in that moment when the playoffs and the game is on the line? Do you really trust them, the Bengals as a organization, as a team, to pull this win out? Because the last time they was in the playoffs, they got booted out pretty bad, and you didn't think they was gonna come back. But Joe Burrow has been doing this thing.
He's definitely been doing this thing. I'm gonna ask you that same question, Drews, real quick. How much of a threat do you feel like the Bengals will be? Because you speak about Joe Burrow very, very highly. I mean, you have been an advocate of his, since the beginning of the show, during our first season of In My Bag. But what's your thoughts on that? How dangerous you think they'll actually be?
I think if you take a look at Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, you got to look back at their college days playing together. Obviously, Joe Burrow came from Ohio State. He was an Ohio State backup. Then he goes on to LSU and becomes the starter. Senior year, he wins a national title with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, I believe.
And both of them know to be stars. That's crazy.
Yeah, that alone is a testament not only to Joe Burrow but to Ohio State, because Ohio State does produce really good football talent. LSU also produces very good football talent. Now, you look at them in the NFL, granted, they did play in a national title game. They did do that. You look at them in the NFL, this is the first time the Bengals have been in the playoffs in a very long time. The last time the Bengals were in the playoffs, Andy Dalton was your quarterback. That just goes to show the Bengals just have not been good. And now they have a team, they have a quarterback, they have a head coach, they have a receiving core that can get them there, that can get the job done. Win the AFC North, play against, high octane offenses, play against top contending teams in the NFL, and win football games. With that being said, though, they haven't been to the playoffs in a very long time, and this will be Joe Burrow's first test in the playoffs. Teams are totally different in the playoffs. The atmosphere is different. The vibe is different. The energy is different. Teams play with a chip on their shoulder. And all I have to say is, you look at the playoff seedings right now. Tennessee's number 1. Kansas City's number 2. I want to say the Bengals are probably like 3-4. And then, what is it? The Bills. The Bengals are probably, 3, and the Bills are 4.
They
The
just
Bills
finished their division, so I think they're 4 right now, though. I think the Patriots, no.
I'm pretty sure it's the Bills. I'm pretty sure the Bills took over.
It should be the Bills.
Bills took over, that division. I'm sure the Bills took over that division. But looking at the playoff seeding as it is right now, if the Bengals can win their matchup, whoever they play, they'll end up having to play. They have to play a top seeded team, so they have to play a team like Tennessee, or they have to play a Kansas City team, and they have to play on the road. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan. It's in the background. Cincinnati, I want my rematch. I don't care. I want my rematch. Come to Arrowhead, Jamar Chase. Come with that same energy. Joe Burrow, come with that same energy. I want to see y'all do that in Arrowhead. That's what I want.
But to add on to that, if the playoffs started right now, the Chargers will be playing the Chiefs, the Colts will be playing the Bengals, and the Patriots will be playing the Bills in the AFC.
Those are all division rivalry games all over again.
All over again. And in the NFC, it'll be Philly and the Rams, the Niners and the Bucks, Arizona and the Cowboys.
We ready to start. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Eagles, I was big advocates for y'all, and I'm glad you brought up the Rams, because we're going to switch over to our next game. Rams versus Ravens. Rams come away with a comeback win in the 4th. Matthew Stafford had we're going to talk about it. But the Rams did get the dub 20-19, which also put us in first in our division. We'll hold on to that first place spot in our division. We haven't clinched yet, depending on if we beat the 49ers, but we are now 12-4. Just to read off some stats, Matthew Stafford, 26 of 35, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, and also a fumble. That wasn't on here, but I had to let him know. Sony Michel, 19 carries, 74 yards. Cooper Kupp, 6 receptions, 95 yards and a touchdown. Odell Beckham, also 5 receptions, 39 yards and a touchdown. Switch over to the Ravens. Mr. Ugly Tyler Huntley, or I always forget his first name, but I believe it's Tyler, ain't it? Ain't that his name? Tyler Huntley. But 20 of 32, 197 yards and 1 pick. Devontae Freeman, 14 carries, 76 yards. And Mark Andrews, not Beanie Drews, 6 receptions, 89 yards. Okay, now that I'm done reading off those stats, I want to talk about Mr. Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a very interesting person to me. And the reason I say that is because it almost has like a Russell Westbrook feel when I think about Matthew Stafford. Because it's like the recent Matthew Stafford that I've been seeing, you're going to get the special talent and you're going to get the good games on offense as far as, what you would consider good football numbers. For example, the second half, but it's like you're going to get the turnovers to come with it. And you don't know if those turnovers are going to be enough to carry the other team over the top, or if your defense is going to be able to weather that storm until Matthew Stafford can kind of get it together. But I did hear something interesting. I honestly don't know the true name of these gentlemen, but I was watching that show. It was very interesting. The First Take guys. But he was on there talking basically about Matthew Stafford and, being, switching from playing in one time zone to another time zone and things about that being very real. I never really actually looked into that, but I can see where it plays a factor. But the fact still remains, Matthew Stafford has to take care of the ball better. I'm not disputing that. You threw 2 picks last night. You had a fumble on you last night. One of those, I will actually only credit you for QB mistake on one of those picks, actually. The one where you threw it to Odell he threw it to Odell in triple coverage while Van Jefferson was wide open on an out route. But with that being said, you come into the game in the second half, you go 14 for 14 and have a game-winning drive. And this is why I say he reminds me of Westbrook, because he's so talented, just like Westbrook is so talented and skilled as a player, but it's like you got to get the turnovers that come with it, and it really dims the light on how much you should be shining, So I want to hear your thoughts when it comes to the Rams and Matthew Stafford, and what's realistic expectations for him as a quarterback coming into these playoffs. Beanie Drews, I'm going to start with you first.
I think the realistic expectation for Matthew Stafford in the playoffs, just go in there and play, dog. You played in Detroit for so long. You had Megatron, the prime of his career. The best thing that y'all had going was Matthew Stafford and Megatron. And you have nothing to show for it. No playoff wins, no division titles, no nothing. So in the trade that happened, going from Detroit, a team that, pride and joy, you poured your blood, sweat, tears, agony, pain, anguish, all that into one team, and to not make the playoffs, to put everything that you had out there every game, to then get traded to a Rams team that has talent, coaching staff, all the hype behind them. Oh. You just gotta go. You just gotta go into LA with the Rams and play football. Play football the way that you know how. Don't worry about the turnovers. I mean, you could worry about them, but limit yourself to the turnovers that you do commit as a quarterback. Because when you're on the field, you're the field general, dog. You dictate, you dissect, you organize, you put the plan together to make that offense run. So Matthew Stafford just needs to go out there and play football. Don't look at the other team quarterback and compare. Don't do none of that. Just go out there and play football, because I think that with the way the NFC is now, people are not counting the Rams out, but they kind of get overshadowed because of the other 2 big-name quarterbacks that are in the playoffs right now, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. So nobody is really going to look at Matthew Stafford and say, "Oh, Matthew Stafford can come in and he can win the NFC." They're not going to openly say that. They're going to say Aaron Rodgers can win the NFC. Tom Brady can win the NFC. I think Matthew Stafford has a very good chance if he just goes out and plays football the way that he knows how. Him and the Rams organization have a very good chance of putting a lot of that flack and bad taste that some people have had about Matthew Stafford in regards to his consistency and his availability to win a playoff game. I feel like the Rams and Matthew Stafford will be able to put that to rest if they can get to the NFC title game. If it whether it be in Green Bay, whether the Rams play at home, no matter what, I think that the Rams and Matthew Stafford can get there. He just needs to go and play football and do that to the best of his ability. Do that the way that he was in Detroit, but he needs to have, the wins under his belt. He doesn't need to go in and lose. And I think this past Sunday's game against the Ravens was a real good testament to that, because you see he had the turnovers, but then again, you see in the second half, he came out and he played lights out. He played lights out football in that second half. So why not? Don't just play it for one half. Put it together for a whole game. And then it probably would have been a different story had he put it together for a whole game and the Rams wouldn't have won by one. They probably would have won by 10, 13, 15, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it. Matthew Stafford can get it done. He just has to play at this point. Just go play.
Matthew Stafford reminds me a lot of Brett Favre, if I'm going to use in comparison. Brett Favre, you're going to get a lot of great plays because he's going to sling that ball and put it in places that nobody else can get it. But also with Brett Favre, him slinging the ball all wildly, you're going to get those interceptions. You're going to get those turnovers. But Brett Favre has been to 2 Super Bowls and have won one of them. So
Mm-hmm.
I do see that expectation for Matthew Stafford, just not this year, because Aaron Rodgers looked like a man on a mission. I do see him winning the Super Bowl with the Rams, but it would probably be next year because of, again, how Drew brought up, he's never won a playoff game. He's been in those situations and didn't pull them off, and it's been on Matthew Stafford. So will it change with the weapons around him? I really don't know. And you got to think about it. Odell's been in a situation like that too and couldn't pull it out. So they overlook the Rams because they don't trust Matthew Stafford right yet. But if Matthew Stafford comes out and does what Drew was saying, just come out there and play like you ain't got nothing to lose, you'll probably get that side of Matthew Stafford that's going to be great and pull out that Brett Favre magic on the football field.
Well, I appreciate you, Maul, for, expecting us, to possibly win it next year. That's something I wasn't expecting you to say. But in Ram Nation and the rest of the organizations out here, we have no expectations of just winning it next year. We're going for it all this year, and we're going to put it all on the line. If Matthew Stafford, there's one key thing that I took away from this. Yes, the Matthew Stafford will be the floor general, but we all forget we got to the Super Bowl with a man named who? Jared Goff. And and let's take another quick note for all the people out there that saying Matthew Stafford has to prove that he needs to that he could take the Rams to the Super Bowl like Jared Goff did. We had a guy named Mr. Todd Gurley that wielded us on offense. Every single play, every possession he was a part of. And not only that, we had a man named Aaron Donald in the backfield as well that was not to be denied, on defense. But back to now, it's not only Matthew Stafford when you talk about the Rams, as far as you can say that Matthew Stafford is the biggest question mark, but we have an amazing defense who only looks to be getting better and better each week. With the amount of turnovers that Matthew Stafford had, they had 3 turnovers last week. One of them resulted in a touchdown. Did they score any other touchdowns for the remainder of that game?
No. But the thing is,
but that's what I'm talking about. The defense being a testament of standing on. Right now, we're on a 5-game winning streak, if I'm not mistaken. We won our last 5. And that's with Matthew Stafford playing bad. That's with his turnovers and with his pick sixes and everything. We've been balling.
But what Drew said, I'm going back to what Drew said a little earlier. That playoff atmosphere is a different energy. It's a whole different
And that's what
energy.
I'm saying. Matthew Stafford is the only one that you can say has that question mark on that. When you go to the
But you don't
defense,
need
we've
that.
seen how Von Miller looks in the playoffs. We've seen Aaron Donald, how he looks in the playoffs. We've seen Jalen Ramsey, how he looks in the playoffs. And not to mention those guys like Leonard Floyd, Ernest Jones, who's been stepping up big time. We have a very solid chance. If I feel like if there's any defense in the NFC that's going to be able to compete with Tay Adams and Mr. Pac-Man Rogers over there, it's going to be the Rams defense. I don't think any other team is going to be able to hold a legitimate fight against that offense.
I'll say there has to be a lot of stepping up on both sides of the ball.
Cowboys.
The Cowboys. There we go. Maybe. But at the same time, Trayvon Diggs, how many he's allowed over 1,000 yards through the air on him this year, just him alone. And he's their best back that they have. And then on top of that, Michael Parsons, he's been having a phenomenal season, but sometimes he's caught out of positions too. And Aaron Rodgers will pick you apart if you are out of position.
Yep.
So. And I don't know what the timetable is on Randall Cobb, if he's even coming back. But if he did come back, that's just another weapon. Like their offense is designed around Aaron Rodgers, and he has the pieces exactly where he wants them. But I think if there's any team that's going to put up a fight with that, it's going to be our defense.
It has to be on both sides of the ball from the Rams in order for them to compete against the likes of Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, Tay Adams, Aaron Jones, all of them. They have to play on both sides of the ball. You cannot have any empty possessions. And field goals, they're good, but you have to score. If you are in the red zone, you have to hit pay dirt. You need touchdowns.
And with that being said, another stat I found out yesterday. Who has been the best fourth quarter quarterback in the league?
Who?
Matthew Stafford.
But you know why he has to be the best quarterback in the fourth quarter?
Because y'all been down.
But the fact still remains, though. You talking about being able to see a team through adversity.
But you don't want to go through that much adversity.
No, there's a difference. There's something key about adversity that plays a really good key part. We even seen it when the Patriots went on their undefeated run, only to lose to who in the Super Bowl? They shouldn't have lost to the Giants. Come on. We all know that. Randy Moss was playing phenomenal. This is the first time we see Tom Brady with somebody that you'll say, okay, he has a legitimate weapon. They shouldn't lose. And Tom Brady put on the performance.
Yeah.
Then they got to the Super Bowl and we seen the plays. Plaxico Burress, yada, yada, yada. But going back to that, it's something about being a team when they can see themselves hit a down point and find out how to weather the storm and fight through those adversities. Being able to adapt in those situations is key. If you're a team that's always on top, it's really hard to find out where your ceiling is because where your floor is because you ain't used to being there. And it's also harder to find out, okay, am I able to climb up past this adversity? So there's a key behind adversity when it comes to playoff times and things of that nature. But to be able to say that you have been the best fourth quarter quarterback in the league this year, that's a statement in itself.
Yeah, it is. It is. But Matthew Stafford better come to play because Aaron Rodgers is going to do a lot to try to mess with that defense. Like your defense may be strong, but how strong can they be for how long? Because that fatigue does catch up to you. And Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady can speed up the pace. They manipulate the game like that.
Aaron Donald going to have to get in the backfield and Jalen Ramsey going to have to put the clamps on.
Yeah, for a very long time.
That is.
I mean, we know they're capable of doing it, but how long can you do that? How long can you withstand all this rain that they're going to throw?
Excited, but I'm so excited to see Jalen Ramsey versus Devontae Adams in the playoffs.
This is Stu said it when we opened the show. He said that this is probably the most high intensity, high octane. This is the closest I think I've seen the playoff race in the NFL in recent years and or ever.
Facts.
Like I'm so excited to see the playoffs this year and just how everything is going to work out, because there's so many teams with so many close records, and you know how things go in the last couple weeks, and in order for one team to clinch a division or in order for one team to get a playoff berth, another team has to lose or tie, and this, that, the third, da 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 da. There's so much of that that's riding on this, and like I said, this is all just exciting to me, like very exciting, and I cannot wait for playoff football. I can't wait.
Now that you're talking about playoff football, my brother, it leads me on to our next question. The NFL playoff hunt has been one like no other this year. But who do you think gets in? I'm going to read off the playoff. This is off NFL.com. I'm going to read off the playoff picture. All right. The teams that are in the hunt, I'm just going to start down there. The Colts right now, they're 9-7. They have the Raiders coming up in their Week 17 matchup. The Chargers are 9-7. They have the Broncos in theirs. The Raiders are 9-7. They're on the bubble. They're in the number 8 seed. These are the teams outside of the playoffs now. The Raiders are 9-7. They play the Colts next week. So that we already know that's going to be a huge game, because whoever wins getting in between them two. But also the Steelers are also still in the mix after everything. They're 8-7 and 1. They play the Browns, and the Ravens are still in it. They are 8-8, and they play. Oh, you know what? Those games should have already happened already. Actually,
yeah, that was last week. That was this past Sunday.
Maybe I needed to hit refresh on here. Oh, nope, it's being stupid. But the fact still remains, we already know who those bottom teams are: the Colts, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Ravens. Out of those teams, who do you think gets in? I want to know, Maul. Do you need me to read them off again?
No. Because I think it's going to be the Chargers. The Chargers are going to be the ones to sneak into that space.
And who else?
And
one more.
The Colts. Chargers and Colts. Because Drew's been calling it since what, week 10? Week 9, week 10. Chargers are starting to heat up. And Carson Wentz just do enough to not mess it up with that defense.
You mean
they're
Colts?
Gonna really,
yeah.
I mean, if Carson Wentz doesn't mess it up and do enough, that defense can catch up, they are dangerous. So I got the Colts and the Chargers sneaking into that spot.
When we played against the Colts, I said it to y'all, even though we beat them, I was like, bro, their defense is nice. They do have a nice defense. Their defense is active. They get after it. But what about you, Drews? Who get in?
I would have to agree with Maul, even though, Maul and I butt heads a lot on the show, especially when it comes to my team, because, he always be Kansas City this, Kansas City that, Kansas City this, Kansas City that. But I have to agree with Maul and say that the Chargers and the Colts get in. The Colts have Jacksonville coming up, and the Chargers have the Raiders in Las Vegas. I think the Chargers can definitely win that game. It's gonna take a lot because I think I don't necessarily think Derek Carr is gonna go out like a punk, especially last game being a home game, and it's a lot riding on that game alone, whether or not you get into the playoffs or you on the outside looking in. And then for the Colts are playing on the road. They're playing a 2-14 Jacksonville Jaguars team that has no hopes of getting into the playoffs. They have nothing to lose. So obviously, they're going to come out and play. regardless if they get into the playoffs or not. They're going to come out and play. So that game is going to be a dogfight as well. The Colts just have to be better in the trenches in order to win the game. Now, to go to the other teams that are in the hunt, the Steelers play the Ravens, who, if the Steelers wouldn't have tied, they would have the same record. And they play in the same division.
Yep.
Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in his long tenured career as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. He's never had a losing season, and he's had how many Super Bowls? 1, 2,
two.
Like, that's a testament to his greatness alone. Outside of that, though, I don't think Pittsburgh gets in. I think the Ravens win that game, and I don't necessarily know if the Ravens are in the hunt. I think they may be on the bubble on the outside looking in, but I feel
but they are 8-8 though. So winning it,
I
9-8.
I feel if they win Sunday at home, season finale, they win Sunday and some other things happen, I think the Ravens get in, the Ravens get in, the Steelers are on the outside looking in, and once again, Mike Tomlin does not have a losing season. That's just my take, because then he'll finish the year off with a 500 record, and again, not a losing season. But yeah, I agree with Maul in the fact of the Colts and the Chargers get in. Definitely looking at who they have on their schedule and where they're playing and whatnot. Both of them are playing on the road in Week 18, but I feel like both of them have the offense, the defense, the quarterbacks, the coaching staff that can get the job done and get into the playoffs and possibly make a push in the playoffs. I don't necessarily know about the Chargers, but I will say the Colts, because I've been saying it since week 9, 10. Like Maul said, the Colts made the push.
Yeah.
Hey,
they are scary.
The push. Speaking of making the push, there's another team that I said will be making the push, and they are currently in the playoffs. But how do y'all feel about this Eagles team?
I have been saying it all year. Put respect on Jalen Hurts' name. Do not discredit him. Don't discredit him for the faults that he's had.
And they have played the playoffs, by the way.
Give the man his props. Give him his just due. He is a good quarterback. I think if he has more weapons and that offense is framed around him and how he operates and his playing style, I feel as if the Eagles can be better and they have the opportunity to win that NFC least division. Bold claim on my end. Because you got the Cowboys. You got the Cowboys that are obviously going to be, the heavily touted favorites. But I think Jalen Hurts can get it done. If he can figure it out up here, he can figure it out in the playbook, and he can get the ball to the right people and or do it himself. He can get the job done. And this Sunday's game is going to be a very big testament to that, because they do play at home and they do play against the Cowboys.
I've real deal been. I'm going to admit it. Y'all. I've been sleeping on Philly. I really have. I've been watching the games, but not really paying attention. But with them making this playoff push, like I look at the stats and the standings. I'm like, what is that, Philly in the playoff push? Like, it surprised me. I'm like, Philly.
I said it on the shows, man. Philly was on the push. I called it. I've been watching Jalen Hurts, man. I like that dude, bro. He's becoming one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in the league. But with that being said, I'm gonna give both of y'all 30 seconds. 0 to think about this question and answer it. If you already know your answer, then you can give it. But out of all the teams in the hunt or wild card, who has the best chance to steal a wild card victory? AFC and NFC. Give y'all 30 seconds. While we waiting on them to answer that question, if y'all want to put who y'all feel is going to be able to have that best chance of stealing a wild card game, go ahead, put it in the comments. Also, shout out to TJ919. I know he couldn't be here, you know what I'm saying? He on the money move, but shout out to my brother. I know you would like to be here talking this football talk as well. And y'all got about 10 more seconds. And I need answers. 2, 1, boom. I'm coming to you first, Maul. No, most of all. Who has the best chance of stealing a wild card victory? NFC and AFC. I need answers.
NFC, wild card, being able to steal a victory. Who's in the wild card right now? Philly, Tampa Bay.
Philly, Tampa Bay, the 49ers.
Niners.
And that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, because it's 5.
I wouldn't call it a steal, but Tampa Bay in the NFC. With them just being a wild card. Brady don't sit well in
no, they clinched their division.
Yeah, it's Arizona, San Fran, and Philly.
Arizona, San Fran, and Philly. That's who it is.
I'm going Arizona. They're going to be the ones out of all those to steal a wild card game and make that push. AFC, I'm going the Chargers.
Oh, okay.
I'm going Chargers because Chargers are really going to air it out and just, throw it to the wind. And those boys go up and get it.
I'm with it. What about you, Beanie Drews? What you got?
So my NFC team that I believe can steal a playoff win.
Did you knock on wood?
The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not knocking on wood. I'm making a bold claim, a bold statement. Philly, Rod and Jalen Hurts. He could do it. He could do it. Philly could steal one. Philly could steal one, and Philly could spoil a team's, chance to get to the Super Bowl. AFC, as close as it is between New England, Indianapolis, and the Chargers.
I know where you're going. I'm
gonna say New England.
Ooh, okay. I didn't know where you was going.
I'm gonna say New England. New England can do it. I believe. We've talked about Bill Belichick's greatness and his mindset and how, especially with him being in the playoffs so many times, like when have we not seen an NFL playoffs without a Bill Belichick in there?
That is definitely true.
I can't necessarily remember a time. I mean, I don't necessarily know about last year because they were having some quarterback issues. Cam Newton wasn't really the guy. They had to go to, a backup, and the Bills run off with that division.
That's definitely facts. But my picks for each one is, I gotta agree with Drews and Maul actually. I'm going to Cardinals, and I'm going with the New England Patriots, but that's all the time we got for this episode. It's your boy Stu, stay finessing. Y'all be safe out there, man. Go ahead and tell them boys bye, guys. We'll talk to them next time. What's up, Beanie Drews?
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all, man, for staying locked in with us, staying tuned. Hey, first episode of the new year. Happy New Year to all the subscribers, all the fans. We appreciate y'all so much. Make sure y'all stay tuned.